Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me again with Action Potential's Facebook Live Beat the Board Exercises for Your Back and Core. I'm Kathy Dixon, and today I wanted to incorporate adding dumbbell weights into most everything we do today, as well as going through a plank sequence. So hopefully your belly will be burning as well as your arms. This week, Action Potential is doing throwback t-shirts for the Turkey Trot. So I pulled out one of the OGs from the very beginning years. So look out for them this week. So grab a mat and some dumbbells, and we're going to get started. So we're going to go through our first sequence of our warm-ups just without our weights, and then I'm going to throw my weights back on. At any time that you don't feel comfortable doing these exercises with weights, feel free to just go back to doing them without the weights. So first we're going to start with just our squats, our heel raises, and we're going to throw a bicep curl in. So again, we're going to drop into our squat, go right up on our toes, and throw a bicep curl in. So if you've been following me from the beginning of COVID-19, we've worked our way through lots of different exercise positions to make sure that we have the right form so that we can ensure that we're activating our core. So as we go through this exercise, make sure in your squat, you're driving your heels back and then bracing your belly as you rise up on your toes and firming your belly and your shoulder blades as you do your bicep curl. Right? Your body should not move as you do your bicep curl. Your body should stay nice and strong through the core as your elbows bend and straighten. So we'll do two more here. As we go through the next set, we're going to throw our dumbbells in. So I'm kind of getting my arms ready for that position. One more just for good measure. As you go into your squat, make sure your knees stay straight over your toes. Okay, the next one, we're just going to drop into a squat with our butt back, and we're just going to step one foot out to the side, to the back, to center. Again, to the side, to the back, and to center. Notice as I shift over into my single leg squat position, my knee stays straight, pointed straight over my toe the entire time. My leg that's moving, I'm making sure that my knee kind of stays pointed straight ahead like the headlights on a car. Okay, I'm not letting my knee turn inward, and I'm not crossing my legs behind me. So I'm just weight shifting, shoulder over hip, over foot, tapping side and then back, and shifting, tapping side and then back. One more to each side. So we're just getting our legs warmed up for squatting, toe raising, side stepping directions. Okay, now we're going to go right into our half kneeling warm up. So again, a half kneel is your knee is at 90 degrees, your ankle's right under your knee. You're nice and tall in your back hip. We're going to keep our arms crossed. We're going to rotate our pelvis. We can rotate away from the leg, pelvis first, then shoulders, back to center. Pelvis rotates towards the front leg, then my shoulders. Making sure my knee stays straight over my toe as I rotate, all right? I don't want that knee to kind of come along with me. I want to keep it open. So I'm not only warming up my core, but I'm loosening up my hips. One more each direction here. So we've got one and one. I'm also making sure that I'm not lunging forward, so switch your feet. As I go into my rotation, I'm not pressing my body forward into my front foot. I'm staying anchored between my front and my back legs. I'll say it every time, but you imagine your spine is a vertical pole, and you're kind of rotating on an axis like a pole at a barber shop. Good. One more to each side, and then we're going to start from the beginning, but I'm going to add my weights in this time. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my dumbbells. They can be 5s, 10s, whatever you want, but I warn you, we're going to work out our arms and our planks today, so I wouldn't go too heavy. So arms are rested at your side. Shoulder blades are kind of in a pinch, so they're flat on the back of your rib cage. I'm dropping down through my hips, tall, bracing my belly, up on the toes, bracing my belly for a bicep curl. Okay, so we're squatting, we're rising up on our toes, curling our arms. Squatting, toes, arms. You may say, Kathy, Why are we doing bicep curls for our arms when this is supposed to be about my back and my core? And then I would say, Facebook Live group, who can't respond to me while I'm talking out loud, incorporating a stable core as you do upper body exercise is equally as important to doing stabilizing your core with lower body exercise or even just your core in general. So it's very important that I brace my core and set my shoulder blades as I go into these bicep curls. Okay, we're gonna do 3 more here. Remember, as you go down into your squat, you're keeping your weight biased towards your heels, sitting back like you're going into a chair, and that allows us to keep our spine nice and straight as we go down. Okay? I didn't really figure out how to incorporate weights into this next one, so I'm gonna put them down. We're gonna go back into our squat. We're gonna step side, back, center, side, back, center, side, back, center. Hopefully you feel a little bit of burn here in the hips as we stay down in our squat. Notice that I'm not bouncing up and down as I move into different squat positions, okay? Staying down in this squat the whole time I'm moving my legs, trying to get a little extra work from my hips and that rotational stability from my core. You might feel this non-moving leg. You might feel that knee kind of want to bobble in and out. That's your body getting stronger, trying to stabilize that knee. Do 1 more to each side, side, and back. Okay, we're gonna go into our half kneeling again. This time we're gonna grab our dumbbell. So we're in that front rack position, okay? Remember my shoulder blades are wrapped so they're flat on the back of my rib cage. I feel my front belly engage as well as my armpit muscles engage. 1 foot's out in front. I'm gonna rotate my belly button or pelvis towards the open direction, twist with my shoulders, back to center, and then the opposite way. So we add the weight here because it gives us overflow to want to turn on all of our core muscles from our shoulders to our hips instead of just the lower belly portion. The rotation helps us pull in the balance and the stability of the hip muscles themselves. Good. And 1 more to each side. And then we'll switch our legs. We're going to keep our arms still in this front rack position. Again, I'm not holding the weight through my neck. I'm setting those shoulder blades, kind of pushing from that armpit muscle and tightening my belly from the front. So we'll keep rotating about 5 times to each side here. It's always funny, I don't know how much to do of what from the time perspective of 20 minutes. But I think this is going to be our last set with these guys because the plank stuff might take a while. Good. We're going to do 1 more to each direction. And perfect. Okay, so we are going to go back to a single leg type squat exercise. So if you remember from last week, we did the half kneel with the hover where we held a little lift and then we stood up tall. So today we're going to incorporate it from the half kneel hover into the skater march. So we're going to half kneel hover. We're going to stand up tall. If you have to tap the floor, you can. If not, I'm going to bring you straight up into that skater march, okay? You can stop at the floor on the way back down and step back and drop back into your half kneel. So I'm going to break it down slow. We're going to add the weight, and then I'm going to show you the smooth sequence if you didn't want to stop in the middle. So again, we're in our 90-90. Our belly's nice and tight. We're tucking our back toe. We're just lifting a little off the floor to hover. Then we're gonna stand up tall through that front heel. If you need to tap, go ahead and drive right into my march. Straight leg here, weights in my heel, 90-degree bend at the moving leg. Okay, if you wanna come down, back to the floor, big step back, do your drop lunge to the floor. 1 more time here, no weight, we're gonna lift and hover. Notice my knees didn't collapse in, they're pointed straight ahead. And then I'm gonna drive up tall, tap if I need to, or come right into that march. This knee's moving to the shoulder, not to the chin. Okay, back to the floor. Let's grab our weight this time. If you want, You're gonna hold it in a front rack, again, just to activate that upper core some more. Feel my front heel, I'm gonna lift and hover, stand up tall, tap if I need to, and then come into my march. Back to the floor, step back and drop down. So now if you wanna bring it into a sequence, you're gonna half kneel and hover. Oh, Nike's in my way. You're gonna stand up tall, bring that back leg right through into your march. Now don't hit the floor on the way back. You're gonna reach that leg back long and drop back into your half kneel. So again, you're gonna lift and hover. You're gonna drive your leg tall and march. If you can do it without stopping back in the middle, reach that leg all the way behind you and drop to the floor. I'm gonna show you guys the stopping in the middle this time. So we're gonna hover, stand up tall and tap, march, back to the floor, big step back, drop down. One more here. I'm doing it straight through. I'm hovering, belly's tight, driving into my march, back to the floor. Okay, so go ahead and switch your legs. I'm gonna do one time where I stop in the middle, and then other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the sequence where I don't stop in the middle. All right, so here, we're gonna hover, we're gonna stand tall, tap to the floor for balance, come up into our march, back to the floor, big step back, and do our drop lunge to the floor. All right, the whole time, our belly's tight. Okay, we're driving our heel into the floor of that standing leg, and then we're lowering down by riding that heel of the front leg. So again, hover, tall, and march, and back to the floor. If I show you guys this from the side, remember, no ski vertical butt tuck. So I'm hovering, I'm driving my standing leg straight as I march. I'm not, off balance. I'm not letting my butt curl and move with me into a back bend. Okay, so I hover, drive tall and march, back to the floor. Again, hover, drive tall and march, and back to the floor. Okay. So that was our squatting and single leg squatting for the day. Now we're gonna move into our planking series. So I promised we were gonna add weights to everything today. So we're gonna do our plank rows, and we're gonna add the dumbbells in our hands as we do the row. Okay, so remember the modification here, if you don't like going into your plank, is you stay in tabletop position, that tailbone's lifted, your spine straight, your elbow is on a string pulling straight up to the ceiling. So I'm bracing my belly, I'm doing my row, down, I'm bracing my belly, and doing my row, okay? You feel like your body wants to rotate, don't let it. Right, that's the easier position. We're gonna step back into a plank. Remember, your feet can be a little bit wider. We're gonna tighten our bellies and row from there. So step back, step back. Remember, your butt's not up in the air. You're nice straight forward, pushing from my armpit through the heel of my hand. I'm rowing, and I'm rowing, and I'm rowing. And we're gonna keep going here. I'm getting a little out of breath talking during this one. But your neck should stay nice and relaxed, down away from your ears. Okay, your focus is pushing from your armpits, not through your neck. Come back in. So we're gonna do another set there, maybe about 5 or 6 on each arm. Remember, the focus of this exercise is belly, and then are my shoulder blades in the right place, or are they getting tired and rounding up towards the ceiling? And in that case, I have to fix them. If you can only do 2 sets of 2 rows in a two repetitions of a row in your plank, then come into tabletop to finish the rest. All right, so we're gonna step back into our plank, brace our belly, push from our armpits as we row side to side, not letting our body tilt or twist. And we're gonna keep going. We're about halfway there. So again, if you're getting a little tired, because this is only the beginning of our planking, feel free to bring your knees in and finish in the tabletop position. No shame here. One more each side. Yes, and that one actually really put me out of breath. All right, so now, as promised, the planking sequence. We've gone through this a couple of times in the other videos, so I'm not going to show you the countertop position. But remember, we can either do planking static holds on our knees if we have to. Okay? We could go to a raised countertop and go in kind of a supported position on the countertop, which makes it a little bit easier. It's going to be a little bit hard here to stay in the tabletop position. So if you don't like going through the sequence, you can just hold each position, or you can give it a try. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 tricep push-ups into our plank. Then we're going to go into a side plank on each side, back to our plank. We're going to lower to the floor, so that kind of reverse push-up I talked about, where when you get close to the floor, you want to make sure that your shoulder blades stay down, not in your neck. Once we're on the floor, we're going to go into a back extension stretch and then a child pose stretch. All right? And this is the extent of yoga that I know. I don't even know if you can call it yoga. So we're going to get in our plank, our tabletop position, step back into our plank. We're going to do 2 tricep push-ups. If you can't go all the way down to where your nose touches the floor, feel free to just do a half repetition. Remember, the bicep slides right along your body. Now we're going to stack our feet, rotate our hips and our shoulders into the side plank. I'm just going to hold a couple of seconds. Remember, bend that elbow. Rotate back. Again, we're pulling that lawnmower pull, thinking about my ribs cages being symmetrical in the side plank. I'm going to brace my belly, elbows stay tight next to my side as I lower flat to the ground. Flatten my toes. Here, I'm just going to press my chest up in the air. So I'm thinking of lifting my breastbone or my sternum up towards the wall in front of me as my hips sag and sink to the floor. Getting a nice long neck. And then I'm just going to kind of come up to my knees, push my butt back towards my heels, and stretch in a rounded back position. And this one's really nice because it gets those armpit muscles we've been working on as well. Great, and then we're going to come right back into tabletop and start over. So remember, no shame in doing your tricep push-up on your knees. We're going to do this again. So 2 push-ups. If you do them on your knees, I want you to go all the way to the floor though. Then lift up into your plank, stack your feet, swing that arm up into your side plank. Remember, think of your rib cages being symmetrical on both sides. Swing back to your plank, back to your side plank on the other direction. Back to your plank. Your body is as flat as a board as you bend those elbows. Let your biceps kind of brush towards your trunk. Flat to the floor, relax your toes. Press your chest up to the ceiling. Get a nice stretch in the back in this direction. If you're only here, that's fine. Not everybody's back goes backwards into that extension. So you get what you take, or you take what you get. And then we're going to kind of come onto our knees, drive our butt back to our heels. If you have pain in your knees here, go as far as your knees let you. Okay, widen your knees. If you feel like you need to spread them apart to get a better stretch. But this is great at kind of opening up the back. And we're taking the spine from an extended position to a flexed position and then back to neutral. Good. Back to tabletop. Believe it or not, we're going to do that one more time. So I'll go do a real push-up this time. So again, remember the tricep push-up. The hands are brushing right along the side of my body, and then I'm pushing from the heel of my hands out. I'm not coming out into what you think of more as a traditional push-up. Okay, the tricep push-up helps work the core a little bit more. So 2 push-ups, and then we're going to go into our plank. Stack our feet, go into side plank. Okay, nice straight body. Bending back to your plank. Over into the side plank. I should feel these back shoulder muscles helping to support me. Back to your plank, belly tight as you lower to the floor like a board. Relax your toes, press your chest up in the air. Get a nice extension through your back. And then we're going to shift your hips back to your heels. Hold the nice rounding of your back. Great, and back to tabletop. Okay, so I want to finish with either the bicycles for our abs or the heel taps, the legs up in the air heel taps, and then we're just going to finish with our twist stretch. So the easier version here is going to be both legs up, arms up in the air, One foot and the opposite hand are going to move to the floor and back up, to the floor and back up, okay? Make sure that your ribs are down and your lower belly's tight, all right? I'm going to go into the bicycle where we do a little sit-up here. Remember, there's a softball between your chin and your sternum, okay? So we're going to go into this little sit-up, and we're going to rotate our elbow to the opposite knee that's coming into our body. So bicycle is, we're lifted. We're going to exhale, drop our ribs, tighten our lower belly. Elbow to knee, elbow to knee. Okay, the closer your heel goes to the ground, the more you're working that belly. So if you want to try a bicycle up here, that might be a more manageable position. Make sure your chin's up, ribs are down, belly's tight. We're doing a couple more here. I'm not really counting, I'm just waiting until my stomach burns, and then I do 2, and then we'll stop and take a break. We're going to do another set, basically the count of until my stomach burns, and then we're going to finish with the rib stretch. Okay, so however you want to get in your position, inhale, exhale, let your ribs fall to the ground, firm your lower belly, get in your position, and go ahead through your reps. If your belly starts to burn before mine, feel free to take a break, or if it burns after mine, feel free to keep going until you get to that point. But as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about drawing my abs down, not pushing them up to get power. I'm going to do about 1 more on each side and stop. Okay, so now we're just going to finish with the twist and stretch for breathing. So I pretty much do this almost every time, but you're going to roll on your side. Legs are straight. Take your top knee, pull it up to your chest so it's resting on the floor. Bottom hand holds your knee. Bottom leg stays straight with your body. Hand on your rib cage. Inhale. Exhale and let your shoulder and head look behind you. Hold that stretch. If you want more of a stretch here, you can take that top hand and grab your back foot. Thigh is straight with your body. You rotate your foot and your shoulder back. Remember, no pain here. We stop before pain. We're holding for a minute, inhaling, exhaling, and think of sinking a little bit deeper into that stretch. Again, we're going to inhale, exhale, sink a little bit deeper into that stretch. Make sure your neck is in a relaxed position. Okay, my back foot is not touching the floor back here. That's okay, not everybody can get there. And then we gotta unrotate as we come out of the stretch. Roll to the other side. So we're gonna pull that top knee up, bottom leg straight with your body, or foot in your top hand. Bottom hand on your knee, inhale. Exhale, rotate that top shoulder back. And hold your stretch. As you exhale, inhale, exhale, sink a little bit deeper. And then go ahead and come out of your stretch. So everyone, thanks for joining today. That was kind of fun. I think I did a lot less talking and maybe a little bit more moving. So hopefully we're moving in that direction. Join me again on Thursday at 11 a.m. and then Facebook Live for Action Potential is on again tomorrow at 11 as well. So we'll see you then, and everybody take care.